Digital ID is here and you didn't even notice. Starting May 7th, 2025, if you want to board a domestic flight, you'll need a real ID. But this isn't just about getting through airport security. It's the quiet rollout of a federalized identification system, and most Americans still don't realize it. Let's break this down. The Real ID Act was passed in 2005. That was 20 years ago. But after nearly 2 decades of delays, extensions, and low compliance rates, it's finally being enforced. As of May 7th, you won't be able to fly domestically unless your driver's license or ID has the little gold star in the corner. It sounds simple. Just go to the DMV, bring your birth certificate, proof of residence, and a few other documents, and get your star. You're good to go, right? But here's the question nobody's really asking. What exactly are you opting into? Because this isn't just about ID, it's about data and it's about control. The Real ID Act requires states to collect, verify, and store your personal documents, birth certificate, social security number, proof of legal status, and this data must be stored in a way that's shareable across government agencies. Not just state ones, but federal ones too. In other words, this is the foundation for a national ID system, and that should raise some serious red flags. Critics warned about this years ago. Privacy advocates said it would be a backdoor to federal surveillance, and it would create a de facto national ID without Congress ever openly voting for one. And here we are. Now pair that with what's actually happening globally. The World Economic Forum is openly promoting digital ID systems tied to health, travel, banking, and even social compliance. In Europe, some of those systems are already being tested. In Canada and Australia, digital ID pilots are underway, and here in the United States, the pieces are slowly coming together. Slowly but surely. Real ID, mobile driver's licenses, biometric verification, digital vaccine records. When combined, it's not hard to see the direction that we're headed. And the concern just isn't about having to show an ID. It's what happens when access to services becomes conditional on having the right kind of ID and who decides what right means. What happens when a digital ID becomes the only way to open a bank account, or board a flight, or a train, or have access to healthcare, or even post on social media? I know right now that might sound kind of far-fetched until you realize it's already happening in other parts of the world. Let me be clear. This is not about fear. This is about awareness. The way you get people to give up control is very rarely through force. It's through convenience, through slow, subtle nudges, taking inch by inch. And then one day you look up and realize, where are we? You can't function in society without a government-issued digital permission to do something. That's not freedom. That's something else entirely. But if you've been paying attention who's been pushing this stuff on a national and the globalist scale, it's not hard to see. But here's the thing. So what can you do? First, know what the Real ID is and what it is not. It is not just a TSA requirement. It's the first step in a broader shift towards a centralized ID infrastructure. Second, protect your personal information as best as you can. If you must get a Real ID, be cautious about what you give and how it's stored. Third, support decentralized systems. Support local businesses. Support cash transactions, peer-to-peer interactions, offline backups, anything that gives you a little bit of margin when it comes to this increasingly digital world that we're living in. I get it. Some of this stuff, there isn't an easy solution. One thing I will tell you is that when you're at the airport, and again, this is a small step, when you go there and you show your boarding pass and it says that take the picture, and there's a little sign that says like, oh, we delete these pictures in 30 seconds after you go through. I don't believe it. Then why do you need to take the picture anyway? And just so you know, you do not have to do that. So I always just have the person, they check my ID and I go on. Is it a big deal? Is it really going to change anything? No idea. But at least it lets other people know, because other people seem like, hey, you didn't take the picture. I'm like, you don't have to. And people are like, oh, really? You don't? Even when you take that action, you're being the example for other people. And that's half the battle to get this awareness out there. Because if everybody threw up their arms about this stuff, they wouldn't push it. But it's just everyone's busy, everyone's distracted, they slide it in. It takes 10, 15, 20 years to push it through. And people just roll their eyes and shrug their shoulders and they go, oh, I don't care. And most importantly, don't comply blindly. You still have a voice. And the more people understand what's really happening, the harder it becomes to roll this stuff out quietly. We're not saying don't fly. We're not saying don't travel. We're saying don't sleepwalk into a system you don't understand. Because once you're in it, getting out of it is going to be a whole lot harder, if not next to impossible. This is the Prepared American, where the point isn't panic, it's perspective. And now that you see the bigger picture, it's time to get ready for what's next. You're more prepared now than you were just a few minutes ago. So don't stop here. Click below and keep growing with the Prepared American.